So last week on the podcast, we talked about strategies for using podcasts in human resources and within a company. This week, I want to specifically talk more about human resources and recruiting. Well, let's start out this way. It's hard to calculate the true costs of hiring an employee, right? There are the recruiting costs, advertisement, the time cost of an internal recruiter, the time cost of recruiter's assistant in reviewing resumes and performing other recruitment-related tasks, the time cost of the person conducting the interviews, the drug screenings, the background checks, and various pre-employment assessment tests. In 2016, the Society for Human Resources Management reported that the average cost per hire was $4,129. Then, once you think you have the right employee hired for the job, you have the training costs. In 2017, Training Magazine reported that the average cost to a company per learner was $1,075. And with the average annual turnover rate hovering in the 10% to 20% range, making wrong decisions when you hire someone can get costly quickly. What if every application that hit your desk came from a job seeker who already understood what it was like to work for your company? What if they already knew about your culture and values? I bet that would lower your turnover rate and lower hiring costs. Well, companies like Marriott and Geico have already found a highly effective way to make sure that a good number of job seekers know this information before they apply. They're podcasting about it. If you've listened to my other episodes, then you'll know that podcasts are the number one new media source for people wanting to learn something new. And they are an authentic way to make a deep connection with the listener. And that most listeners not only listen to the entire episode, but they then do what you ask them to do. Marriott and Geico are using podcasts to publicize their employee value proposition, or EVP for short. EVP is the benefits an employee receives in return for what they bring to a company. This should include a description of how the company is different than others and its core values. It should share why people are proud to be employees and the vision and culture of the company. Companies who stay aware of EVP in all parts of their business know that it will help attract the ideal job candidates. Forward-thinking HR professionals know that EVP is an essential part of your employment brand. And employment brand is a crucial factor in the decision job seekers make in applying for positions at your company. Podcasts are an extremely effective way to broadcast all important elements of your EVP and to also create authentic connections with your company leaders and HR staff before a job seeker ever gets to an interview. Most importantly, they will weed out job seekers who won't enjoy your company culture or expectations, saving you time and money. One of the most frequent questions I get about marketing is, how do we know what type of marketing to invest in? There is so much out there. How do we compete with all the marketing noise? Well, you know my answer is going to be you need a podcast. Well, here's a story that shows exactly what I do. I've told you about Katie Kermitsos and her podcast, Biz Women Rock, before on an earlier episode. Katie's a business strategist and coach, and she happens to be one of my clients as well. She has reached thousands of women business owners all across the country through her podcast. Because of her podcast, Katie is always talking to warm leads who want to listen and learn about what she has to offer them. Well, so how did I help her? I met Katie in December 2016 when I approached her about advertising my services on her show. As we developed the ads, she and I had several great discussions about podcasting and her show in particular. I discovered that even after over 250 episodes and building a thriving community in business, she was still spending 3 to 4 hours per week editing, uploading, promoting, and analyzing her podcast. She was tired of it, frustrated, and almost to the point of ditching the show entirely. I immediately suggested she have us take over all of her show production and distribution. This simple step immediately allowed her to implement changes that tripled her revenue in 2017 because she was able to focus on much higher value activities that would grow her business. It gave her real results because she was focused on doing the work that had the power to skyrocket her income. The mere fact that I helped her think about her podcast in a strategic manner added value. Much of what I do as a strategist is identify the gaps and call out the problems, and that is often enough. Most of the time, the people I work with are too close to their businesses to see how how unproductive it is for them to keep doing this or that when they can have someone else do it for them. I also add value by helping them avoid the pitfalls, overcome the obstacles, and shorten the learning curve. I reveal examples of small things that can compromise their results. Most business owners know what they need. They just don't know how to get it, and more often than not, they are trying to do it all on their own. Believe it or not, most business owners don't even realize that a podcast can help them, and it takes a forward-thinking leader to take that first step. So if you're ready to take that first step, contact me today to schedule a free 15-minute strategy session, and let's get started crafting a podcast that will create customers who trust your business before they ever buy, and then can't wait to tell the world about you. You can schedule a time with me by going to meetme.so/Danny Osmond. That's meetme.so/Danny Osmond, and I'll include the URL in the show notes. Today's show was brought to you by ConvertKit, the only email marketing system you'll ever need. After 5 years with the email marketing provider that everyone starts out with, you know who I'm talking about, I was desperately searching for one that was simple, easy to manage, and affordable. ConvertKit easily stood out above the rest, and I've been ridiculously happy with them ever since I made the switch. Emailing my community and creating automation series for special resources has never been so simple. Whether you're ready to start your first email marketing setup or you're searching for a new provider, I highly recommend ConvertKit. Go check them out and other resources that I recommend at DannyOsmond.com/resources. That's DannyOsmond.com/resources.